Hundreds of studies have shown that implementation intentions are effective for sticking to our goals, whether it's writing down the exact time and date of when you'll get a flu shot or recording the time of your colonoscopy appointment. They increase the odds that people will stick with habits like recycling, studying, going to sleep early, and stopping smoking. I've been reading books since I was very young, and I could say that reading has overall improved my speaking skills from a very young age till this day. But in this video, I want to show you just how important reading can be, whether if you're in an interview. How many of you guys have felt a little bit of awkwardness when you stand in front of your class and your teacher asks you to read something? It's freaking scary, I know. How many of you guys have felt that blanket of fear which just clothes you when you have to read something in public? Oh hell, even if you have to read something in your mind, you find yourself to get stuck in some words. This video will completely help you on how you can improve yourself, how you can become a better reader. So I'm splitting this video into two parts. First is for practice. Now this session will teach you on how you can implement exercises into your routine in order to become a perfect English reader. And the second one is for people who are a little bit impatient and want to start seeing changes as soon as possible. The first thing is I can go over some practices. Now, whenever you read a book, let's say that you're in your room right now and you spend some 5 minutes per day. 5 minutes per day, that's all you need. When you spend 5 minutes per day dedicating yourself in order to become a better reader, take any book. I don't care if it's the Bible, I don't care if it's a textbook, I don't care if it's a storybook, any book in English. Make sure that you read 2 paragraphs, always 2 paragraphs together, and then you scan each word one by one, sentence by sentence, and then you understand the tone of the entire paragraph. You can get to understand whether if it's sad, whether if it's happy, whether if it's informative, and then you need to decide which one is which. If it's a sad tone, then you will usually read something as, for example, if it's a sad tone, then you would say, once an implementation intention has been set, you don't have to wait for inspiration to strike. If it's informative, then you would say, once an implementation intention has been set, you don't have to wait for inspiration to strike. And if it's happy, then you would say, once an implementation intention has been set, then you don't have to wait for inspiration to strike. So first and foremost, you need to understand what type of thing that you are reading. What's the emotion? What story are they telling? And then you need to decide how you're going to read it. Understood? The next thing which I can advise you is try to look for full stops. Try to look for pauses. Whenever there's a full stop, whenever there is a pause, stop reading. Most people have a very big issue. Whenever they read, they just read completely. They don't stop for anything. It's as if someone's chasing them with a stick. Wait, be patient. The slower you talk, the more mystery you have, the more you demand attention. Slow yourself down. So this is something which is not going to take place immediately, which is why you need to practice it at first. So as I said, you take any random paragraph and then you notice in the scanning. After first step, you will see where the full stops are, where the commas are. And then whenever there's a full stop, you stop. It doesn't matter if it's awkward whenever you read. That's why it's practice. Say for example, why do I say something is important, but never seems to make time for it? The answers to those questions can be found somewhere else. See, now most people, they would read it as, why do I say something is important, but never seem to make the time for it? The answers to those questions can be found somewhere in these 4 laws. Don't do that, alright? Just do not do that. Basically, whenever you practice, always try to read it again and again and again. Choose 2 paragraphs and read it 4 or 5 times. You'll only notice that 5 minutes have gone. It's not a long exercise. So you take the textbook or you take the book and then you read it once. Okay, I made a mistake here and here. In your mind, you're making these notes. And then you do it again and you do it again. And until when you're satisfied, then you can stop. That's how this overall exercise thing works, right? So hoping that you've understood that, I would like to move on to the next topic. Now the next topic is about immediate changes which you can use in order to become a better reader. Now for this, you need to understand the 3 most important things which a reader needs to have. The first one is pronunciation. The way how you pronounce your words. It should be perfect, clear, and it should not be slippery. Your tongue shouldn't slip. The second one is your modulation or your voice. Singers can do this very well. And if you like to sing in the shower, then my friend, you can become a very good reader. And finally, the third one, and honestly the most underlooked part, is speed. How fast you read it or how slow you read it. We'll discuss that one by one, and by following these 3 rules, you can become a better speaker instantly. So, the first thing which I said was pronunciation. For this, you need to focus whenever you say a D sound, make sure that you say it. The tongue should be behind your teeth. D, not D. It shouldn't be heavy. Always think light thoughts. D, not D. Okay? So once you see a word which you can't pronounce, try splitting it up. Maybe the word pronunciation. So first pronunciation. Try splitting the words into 3 or 4 or hell, how much ever you want to. And then read it slowly. Understood. Moving on, the next thing which I can say is your modulation tone. Now, if you notice, even when I speak, sometimes I talk high and sometimes I talk low. So these 3 things are very important for a person when you're reading. First, once you scan the text and once you understand what type of text it is, informative, sad or whatever, if it's sad, then you would keep more of a monotone voice, keeping a bass voice, keeping something which... And then, the next most important thing is whenever you're doing something which is happy, then you can go up and you can go down, however it is. So voice modulation, I think this is a little bit of a deeper topic and I'll take this in our next lesson. Now moving on to the speed. Some people like talking very fast and they read stuff very, very fast, which makes it very hard to understand. So always make sure that you pace yourself. Always remember, reading is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Pace yourself. Always keep yourself in a moderate pace. The way how I'm talking right now is maybe slow, but it's demanding your attention. You're staying and you're watching and you're listening. But whereas if I was talking too fast, and some people may think that they're not able to understand what I'm saying. So that's why I always recommend, try talking slower than you think. It will make you sound more fluent as well. So I think that you should re-watch this video as many times as you can. But just as a small summary, I would say, always make sure that your modulation is good. Make sure that you scan the paragraph, see what is important, understand the tone, and then moving on, focus on your pronunciation and always pause whenever there's a full stop and whenever there's a comma. The next lesson I'll talk about how you can modulate your voice, how you can use your tonality to become a better speaker, but that's for next week. For now, stay tuned. I don't know how to sign off. Bye-bye.